All right, so you want to dive deep into this whole MrBeast situation? Buckle up, because we're talking accusations, lawsuits, enough drama to make even MrBeast himself ditch the merch and make a run for it.
You know, it really makes you think, right? You see this guy, MrBeast, all about giving away money, pulling these crazy stunts, and suddenly, boom, this carefully crafted image starts to crumble, and it all begins with Chris Tyson.
Yeah, Chris Tyson. For anyone who hasn't been glued to the MrBeast saga, this is where the first cracks start to appear. July 2024, Tyson, longtime friend of MrBeast, steps down from the team. And it's not a quiet exit.
Not at all. We're talking accusations of inappropriate interactions with a minor. And that's a bombshell that sends shockwaves through the whole MrBeast fan base.
Right. This isn't just some random guy. Tyson was in those early videos, a core part of the MrBeast crew.
Yeah.
So when these allegations hit, it feels different. It makes you question everything.
Absolutely. And it sets a pattern in motion because shortly after Tyson leaves the picture, we have a man named Nathan WB coming forward. He claims Tyson groomed him starting when he was just 13. 13 years old. And Tyson was 20 at the time.
That is, wow. You would think at this point, MrBeast would want to address this head on, clear the air, right?
You would think so, right.
And he does, to some extent. He announces he's hired an independent investigator. Sounds promising, right?
Sounds like a step in the right direction for sure.
But then, nothing. Those investigation results never see the light of day.
And that silence, it's deafening. Because when you have these serious allegations and no clear answers, people are going to jump to their own conclusions.
Speculation runs wild.
Exactly. And then, just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, Tyson's sister enters the chat. She claims Tyson is faking being transgender as some kind of fetish.
Okay, whether that's true or not, it's not our place to say, but it throws fuel on an already raging fire.
It becomes this perfect storm of controversy. You've got personal matters, internet fame, and accusations flying left and right.
And then, the cherry on top, leaked Discord messages. Now again, these are alleged messages. We can't verify their authenticity, but they supposedly show Tyson engaging inappropriately with minors.
It's a stark reminder that in the digital age, your past can come back to haunt you. Every comment, every message, it's all out there.
And for MrBeast, this is where the pressure really starts to mount. He ends up firing Tyson, but the timing is what raises eyebrows. It makes you wonder, did he know about these accusations all along?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What did they know and when? And that question lingers over everything that happens next.
It casts a long shadow, for sure. So we've got accusations of inappropriate behavior. We've got this mysterious independent investigation that never sees the light of day. And we've got that nagging feeling that something just doesn't add up.
And you know, with the Tyson situation, it was like, okay, something's off. But then it's like the floodgates opened. People started coming out of the woodwork with even more accusations.
Yeah, it felt like that moment when a dam breaks, and suddenly you realize just how much water was being held back.
And leading the charge was this former MrBeast employee, goes by the name Dogpack404 online, or Dawson.
Dawson, right. So imagine this. You spent time on the inside working for MrBeast, and you're like, wait a minute, something's not right. And you decide to blow the whistle.
Which is exactly what Dawson does. He starts dropping these videos, and the accusations are coming in hot. I mean, we're talking claims that MrBeast fakes entire elements of his videos. Like those challenges, some of them might be totally scripted.
Whoa, hold on. So those epic stunts, those crazy competitions that made MrBeast famous, some of them might be staged.
That's what Dawson is alleging. He even calls out a specific video, the 100 boys versus 100 girls competition, saying it was rigged from the start to ensure the girls came out on top.
Wait, rigged? Like they wanted the specific outcome for the video. Why would they do that?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it gets to the heart of the whole controversy. Because if you're manipulating these competitions, it's not just about entertainment anymore. It's about pushing an agenda.
Okay, so we've got potentially fake challenges, rigged competitions. But it doesn't stop there. Dawson goes on to accuse MrBeast of running illegal lotteries and promoting gambling, especially to his younger audience.
Which is a whole other can of worms, right?
Yeah.
You've got legal issues, ethical concerns, especially when you consider how many young, impressionable eyes are glued to MrBeast's content.
It's a lot to process.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole issue of censorship. Dawson claims MrBeast's team went into overdrive trying to silence him, deleting negative comments, manipulating those like-dislike ratios on his videos.
Classic damage control, right? But it often backfires because instead of addressing the accusations head on, it just looks like you're trying to hide something.
Exactly. And then, as if things couldn't get any worse, Those cease and desist letters allegedly start flying for MrBeast's lawyers.
Which just adds fuel to the fire. You've got this massive internet personality with deep pockets and legal teams on speed dial, seemingly trying to silence a former employee.
It definitely creates a David versus Goliath kind of vibe. But here's the kicker. Right when you thought things couldn't get any wilder, MrBeast decides to launch this massive competition show called Beast Games.
And it's not just any show. We're talking Amazon Prime, a whole new level of exposure and a whole new level of scrutiny.
So you've got all this drama swirling around MrBeast, right? You think maybe he'd lay low for a bit. Address some of these concerns.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But no, he goes full speed ahead with this Beast Games thing.
And almost immediately, the complaints start rolling in.
And it's not just your average internet grumbling. These are coming from the contestants themselves. People who are actually there on the ground.
And the stories they tell, let me tell you, they paint a pretty grim picture. Food was scarce. Medical care was subpar. People were getting injured left and right.
One contestant even compared the whole thing to the Hunger Games. And look, if your competition show is drawing comparisons to a dystopian thriller about kids fighting to the death, you know something went wrong.
It just keeps escalating. Then you have Jake Widd, a former contestant, comes forward with his own story. He says he was basically pressured into running a marathon with little to no training and ended up seriously injured.
Which raises some serious red flags, right? Because now we're talking about potential negligence.
MrBeast does eventually apologize to Jake Wade and offers him the rest of the prize money.
Which, better late than never, I guess.
Sure, but it feels like trying to put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound at that point.
Exactly. And it's not like the court of public opinion is going to let him off the hook that easily. The New York Times picks up the story, and suddenly this isn't just YouTube drama anymore.
It's front-page news.
And then, as if things couldn't get any messier, a class action lawsuit is filed.
Against both MrBeast and Amazon. Citing labor violations, false advertising, unsafe working conditions, you name it, it's in there.
Beast Games becomes this cautionary tale about what happens when ambition goes unchecked. When the desire for views and subscribers trumps basic ethics.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, remember Dawson.
Our whistleblower from earlier.
He drops another bombshell. Claims that MrBeast knowingly employed a registered sex offender.
This guy, they called him Delaware, even allegedly appeared in a video with children.
And get this, turns out Delaware is allegedly related to Jake Wade, the marathon runner. It's like every new revelation just makes this whole thing more and more unsettling.
And just when you think, surely it can't get any worse, it does. Another YouTuber, Rosanna Pansino, she says she has confirmation from contestants that a man named Armin, who had been charged with some very serious crimes, was allowed to compete on Beast Games.
Now, to be fair, those charges against Armin were never proven in court.
Right.
But his alleged presence on the show, combined with the whole Delaware situation, it creates this really disturbing pattern.
And it's not just about the people MrBeast surrounds himself with, right? It's about the work environment he's created. Because then we start hearing from former employees, and they're painting a very different picture of what it's like to work at MrBeast headquarters.
A much darker picture. We're talking allegations of crazy hours, verbal abuse, this constant pressure to protect MrBeast's image no matter what.
It's like this toxic pressure cooker environment where the only thing that matters is getting those views going viral.
And one former employee, an editor for Jacksepticeye, he goes on record saying MrBeast was verbally abusive, demanding these insane work hours.
It paints a very different picture of the guy we see in those videos, doesn't it?
So where does MrBeast go from here? How do you even begin to repair that kind of damage to your reputation?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
So far, it's been a lot of damage control.
Deleted comments, scrubbed videos, those cease and desist letters we talked about.
But it feels like they're just trying to bury the problem, not actually solve it.
And that never works, does it? Especially in the age of social media where everything is out in the open.
It's like they're trying to put out a wildfire with a garden hose.
And the thing is, even if MrBeast manages to weather this storm, it makes you wonder, at what cost?
What happens to the people who get caught in the crossfire?
Right. Is the price of fame really worth it if it means sacrificing your integrity?
It's a question we all have to grapple with, especially in this day and age.
Absolutely.
And that's the deep dive for you. The MrBeast saga is far from over, but it's a story that forces us to confront some uncomfortable truths about the internet, about fame, and about the responsibility we all have to each other.